Shalom to Knesset member Boaz Bismuth, Likud.
Shalom, Yoni.
So U.S. Secretary of State Blinken is visiting Israel again. He's bringing the U.S. pressure regarding the day after in Gaza, regarding the humanitarian aid, and regarding the war itself.
First of all, let's remind everyone that the Secretary of State is a Secretary of State of a very friendly country to Israel. I mean, we are very grateful to the United States of America for the support that they gave us ever since the beginning of the war. More than 300 planes have come here, which is very important. And by the way, also the veto at the United Nations Council. So, of course, we're very grateful. Now, you must understand one thing. America and Israel, we share the same values. And by the way, we also share the same interests. But sometimes, maybe we don't see priorities the same way, or sometimes maybe interests do not exactly coincide, and sometimes it happens. Yet, we do share the same views, and I also think that we share the same friends and also the same enemies. And our American friends should understand one thing. When we're now at war, we're not at war against Hamas. We're at war against the acts of evil. And let me tell you one thing. The same acts of evil, it can be Iran, it can be Hezbollah, it can be the Houthis in Yemen, of course. They're not also that friendly to America, and America should always remember that. We are the real friends, and we shall win this war, not only for us, for the free world, and also for America.
And how do you see the American decision to act against Israelis, residents of Judea and Samaria?
No, I'm telling my American friends that in this case, I mean, let's respect also the judiciary in Israel. I mean, I don't think... but, you know, when you ask me this question, it permits me to ask, maybe to give you a broader or wider answer. You know, when I went to Strasbourg 2 weeks ago for the Parliamentary Assembly of the European Community, I went there and they had a report after the 7th of October. And I was shocked to see that in the points that they had over there, of course, there was the condemnation of the 7th of October, which is kind of obvious, I would say. I mean, any normal person would condemn what has happened over there. I mean, but let me remind you that the Palestinian Authority didn't do it yet, but that's just a comment or only a reminder if you want. But there were other issues like the humanitarian aid related to the ceasefire. And there was also, of course, the two-state solution, which I think is horrific and something that would be unstable for the region. But there was another point. Another point was violence in the Judea and Samaria, and of course the violence of the settlers. Now, I was amazed to see, I mean, this is in a report about the 7th of October, you deal about violence of settlers that, by the way, I not really see. I mean, this is something that I'm very much afraid was born here, maybe in our Israeli parliament, because I was in many committees where you have members over there, members of opposition, who were speaking about this violence of settlers, as if, and this is the issue, as if you need to make a balance between violence on the other side and violence in Israel. No, in this specific war, the evil one, the bad one, is Hamas, the evil one, the bad one is Iran, the evil one, the bad one is Hezbollah or Houthi. We are, sorry to say, the good ones. So please, let's not invent violence of settlers in order to try to make a certain balance. Now, I'll be honest with you, maybe there is one case, maybe two cases, maybe three cases, but it's not a pattern. It's not a pattern as people try to see, and immediately in a report you speak of violence of settlers. Maybe there was violence of a settler or two settlers, but not violence of settlers. 99.9% of our settlers are our heroes, and they're right now fighting in Gaza, fighting for my life, fighting for my children, fighting for my future, fighting for my country. And go and tell the people, the kids over there studying in the Yeshiva of Eli, that they lost 16 of our boys. Go and talk to them about violence of settlers. You wouldn't even dare to say that, because I have personally so much respect for them.
And finally, a few words about your activity against UNRWA.
Look, UNRWA again is a disgrace. And by the way, when I told you before that we in America share the same values, and I'm very grateful for America. America, for example, suspended their aid to UNRWA, and that is an excellent thing they did. And by the way, also European countries like Great Britain, like France, also Japan, and other countries suspended their aid. And why? Because UNRWA, with all due respect, soi-disant, like an agency that is helping poor Palestinian refugees. But on the 7th of October, Israeli army has proved that 12 of them, at least 12 of them, participated in the massacre. So what are we dealing with? It's not an agency of helping, in this case, Palestinian refugees. It's a terrorist group, with all due respect. So they are not supposed to function or to act, neither in Gaza nor in Israel, nor in any other country of the world. So, of course, people tell me, so who is going to replace them? What, are you going to tell me is going to replace Hamas? This is a terrorist organization. They shouldn't operate. And we can find someone else that is not, how would I say, it's not even politically oriented. It's terrorist-oriented to act. And this is why I think that Israel has to be very, very active on the subject. Now, I must be honest, although I'm part of the coalition, I think that my government should do much more in order to fight UNRWA and in order to close UNRWA. But I'm not waiting for the government to decide or to take a decision. On Sunday, the ministry committee for the laws is going to speak about my bill. I'm presenting a bill that is the aim of that bill is to close the UNRWA, the agency UNRWA, the bureaus of UNRWA, if you want, the offices of UNRWA in our eternal capital, which is Jerusalem. You must agree with me, Yoni, that when you think of it, that an agency that was created in order to, how would I say, to maintain the Palestinian refugee, the idea, and that participated in the massacre of 7th of October, and it is helping Hamas in Gaza, that is educating, by the way they educate children to hate Israel, and of course to promote terrorism. You tell me, how come in my capital such a bureau functions? This is a disgrace also for us that it functions. It has to be closed, and this is what my bill is for. And another thing, if you permit me, concerning UNRWA, only for people to understand what, it would have been funny if it wasn't a tragedy what we lived since the 7th of October. What did UNRWA say in 1949? We come here to help the Palestinian refugees. What did the International Court of Law for Justice said in Hague? That we're committing what? A genocide. Now, I've never seen a genocide where refugees became from 500,000, according to UNRWA, 7, 8, or 9 millions. This is a pure invention, and everything, as you know, it's a pure lie. These people should not function, should not work, not in the world, and of course not in Jerusalem.
Knesset member Boaz Bismuth, Likud, thank you very much.
Thank you.